A tunnel carved 43 feet beneath an Egyptian temple led archaeologists through flooded passages in 2022, until their lights hit something that made everyone in the expedition stop breathing. Rows of stone columns rising from a submerged port floor, anchors, storage jars, all dated to exactly 30 BCE, the year Cleopatra died. But what stunned researchers wasn't the port itself, it was what the port connected to: a secret tunnel system, hidden chambers, and evidence of a conspiracy 2,000 years old. Proof that Egypt's last queen orchestrated her own disappearance, that her body was never where Romans thought it was, and that the secret she took to her grave would rewrite everything history claims to know about how she died and where she's been hiding ever since. Before we break down why two mummies discovered with golden tongues placed in their mouths prove Cleopatra planned a secret burial that Roman conquerors were never supposed to find, why the tunnel system connects directly to an offshore port that could have transported her body without Roman knowledge, and what the coins, statues, and foundation deposits scattered throughout Taposiris Magna reveal about a 2,000-year-old conspiracy to hide the queen's final resting place. Subscribe to Vault of Discovery. The discovery begins in 2005, when Dominican criminal lawyer Kathleen Martinez landed in Cairo with a theory that would make most Egyptologists laugh her out of the room. For decades, scholars had assumed Cleopatra VII was buried somewhere in Alexandria, the city where she was born, where she ruled, where she died by suicide in 30 BCE after her forces lost the Battle of Actium to Octavian's Roman legions. Alexandria's royal quarter, where Cleopatra's palace stood, now sits beneath the Mediterranean after earthquakes and a massive tsunami in 365 CE submerged large sections of the ancient city. Most experts believed her tomb, if it survived at all, lay somewhere under those waters, lost forever. And here's the first shocking twist. Martinez didn't believe it. After more than a decade researching Cleopatra's final days, Martinez became convinced the queen had been secretly moved after death to Taposiris Magna, a temple complex 30 miles west of Alexandria dedicated to Osiris, the Egyptian god of death and resurrection. The temple's name literally translates to Great Tomb of Osiris, and Cleopatra, who fashioned herself as the living incarnation of the goddess Isis, would have seen profound symbolic meaning in being buried at a site connected to Osiris, Isis's husband in Egyptian mythology. After hundreds of ignored emails, Martinez finally secured a meeting with Zahi Hawass, Egypt's Minister of Antiquities. She had 2 months to prove her theory. That was 20 years ago. Think about what Martinez actually proposed. Cleopatra negotiated with Octavian to allow her to bury her lover Mark Antony in Egypt after both committed suicide. Ancient writers, including Plutarch and Cassius Dio, record that Augustus completed Cleopatra's unfinished tomb and buried both of them together in regal fashion. But Martinez's theory suggests something more complex, that after official burial rites in Alexandria, overseen by Romans, Egyptian priests secretly exhumed Cleopatra's body and reburied her at Taposiris Magna, hidden from Roman knowledge, in a location imbued with religious significance that would grant her eternal life. But the second devastating revelation came in 2021, when Martinez's team uncovered ancient tombs containing mummies with golden tongues placed in their mouths, a ritual meant to enable the dead to speak with Osiris in the afterlife. The mummies were high-status individuals, buried during the Greek and Roman periods. One wore a crown decorated with horns of the goddess Hathor and the cobra image of Wajet at the forehead. Another had gilded decorations representing a wide necklace. These weren't common burials. The cemetery contained Greco-Roman-style mummies positioned facing the temple, a configuration suggesting the temple contained burial of significant royal personality. Read that again. Elite mummies buried with golden tongues facing toward the temple during exactly the time period when Cleopatra died. The golden tongue ritual wasn't standard Egyptian practice. It emerged specifically in the late Ptolemaic and early Roman periods, and its purpose was clear: to allow the deceased to speak to Osiris, to plead their case for resurrection, to achieve eternal life. For Cleopatra, who believed her death was a ritual act of deep religious significance, carried out to reenact the legend of Isis and Osiris. This ritual would have been essential. Think about her final hours. August 30th BCE. Cleopatra locked herself in her mausoleum in Alexandria, surrounded by her treasures, knowing Octavian's forces would capture her within hours. She had already lost Antony. Egypt had fallen. Octavian planned to parade her through Rome in chains as part of his triumph, the ultimate humiliation for a queen who had ruled Egypt for 21 years. According to legend, she allowed an asp, a venomous snake, to bite her. But the exact circumstances remain unknown, with some researchers suggesting she died by ingesting poison instead. Then came the third twist that changes everything about understanding Cleopatra's final plan. In November 2022, Martinez's team discovered a massive tunnel beneath Taposiris Magna, 1,305 meters long, carved with precision through solid sandstone, lying 13 meters underground. Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities called it a geometric miracle, comparable to the Tunnel of Eupalinos on the Greek island of Samos, considered one of antiquity's greatest engineering achievements. Parts of the tunnel were flooded, likely due to earthquakes that struck the region between 320 and 1303 CE. Inside, archaeologists found ceramic jars and pottery dating to the Ptolemaic period. Think about what this tunnel actually means. It runs from the temple complex directly toward the Mediterranean Sea. When Martinez traced its path, she realized it appeared to connect to something offshore. That's when she contacted Bob Ballard, the oceanographer who discovered the Titanic wreck in 1985. If anyone could find what lay at the tunnel's endpoint underwater, it was Ballard. And here's where the mystery deepens. In September 2025, Martinez and Ballard announced they had discovered a massive submerged port, approximately 40 feet below the Mediterranean, containing stone buildings rising over 6 meters high, polished floors, columns, cement blocks, anchors, and scattered Ptolemaic amphorae. The port was aligned directly with the tunnel. Ancient coastline mapping shows the original shoreline was located about 4 kilometers from the current coast, meaning in Cleopatra's time, this port would have been accessible by boat, connected to the temple by the underground tunnel, and completely hidden from view. Read that discovery carefully. A secret tunnel, a hidden port. Both dated to Cleopatra's era, both connecting Taposiris Magna to the Mediterranean in a way that would allow transport of a body from Alexandria by sea into the port, through the tunnel, and into the temple, all without Roman knowledge or oversight. Martinez believes Cleopatra would have done anything to stop her body being in Roman hands, and this network provided exactly that capability. But the fourth twist is the one that proves Cleopatra's plan went far deeper than simply avoiding capture. At Taposiris Magna, Martinez's team has uncovered over 2,600 objects over 20 years of excavation. The finds include 337 bronze and silver coins bearing Cleopatra's image, statues of the goddess Isis, a possible marble bust depicting Cleopatra wearing a royal crown, limestone vessels, oil lamps, a bronze ring dedicated to Hathor, and foundation deposits, ceremonial caches of items buried to mark construction of important structures. Each discovery adds weight to Martinez's theory that Taposiris Magna wasn't just a temple. It was Cleopatra's chosen burial site, prepared in advance, imbued with religious symbolism that would grant her resurrection. Think about Cleopatra's worldview. She wasn't just Egypt's political ruler. She was considered the living embodiment of Isis, the most powerful goddess in Egyptian religion. Isis's mythology centers on her husband Osiris, who was killed, dismembered, and resurrected to rule the afterlife. When Cleopatra died alongside Antony, she wasn't simply committing suicide. She was reenacting the Isis-Osiris legend. By being buried at a temple dedicated to Osiris, with rituals designed to enable communication with the god of resurrection, Cleopatra believed she and Antony would achieve eternal life together in another form of existence. But the final, game-changing truth emerges from understanding what Romans did after Cleopatra's death. Octavian made sure to destroy imagery of Cleopatra. Fewer than 10 statues survive to this day. He vilified her in Roman propaganda as a dangerous, exotic seductress who had corrupted noble Roman statesmen. He paraded effigies of her through Rome during his triumph. And he would have wanted control of her actual body to ensure she couldn't become a martyr, to prevent her tomb from becoming a shrine, to erase her legacy completely. That's why the secret burial makes sense. Plutarch records Cleopatra negotiated with Octavian to allow her to bury Antony. She had time to plan. She had loyal priests who followed the cult of Isis. And she had Taposiris Magna, a temple 30 miles from Alexandria, connected to the sea by hidden tunnel and port, where her body could be transported after the official Roman-supervised burial in Alexandria, then secretly reinterred in a location Romans would never think to search. Martinez has found 27 tombs at the site, 20 shaped like vaulted sarcophagi, partly underground and partly above ground. 7 consist of staircases leading to simple burial chambers. Inside these tombs, her team found 10 mummies, 2 of them gilded. The discovery of this cemetery indicates an important person, likely of royal status, could be buried inside the temple. And excavations have revealed submerged chambers and collapsed temple sections underwater, suggesting the full extent of Cleopatra's burial complex might lie beneath the Mediterranean. Most Egyptologists remain skeptical. Zahi Hawass has stated that temples were for worshipping, not burials, and that it's unlikely Cleopatra was buried at Taposiris Magna. But this argument ignores archaeological evidence. Rulers of the 21st and 22nd dynasties were buried in Tanis inside temple enclosures. King Harsis was buried within a temple. The practice wasn't unprecedented. And for Cleopatra, who saw herself as Isis incarnate, being buried in a temple dedicated to Isis's husband would have carried profound symbolic weight. One thing is absolutely certain. A 4,300-foot tunnel beneath Taposiris Magna leads to a submerged port dated to Cleopatra's era. Mummies with golden tongues have been found in elite tombs facing the temple, and over 2,600 artifacts connected to Cleopatra's reign now prove the site was far more than a simple temple. Whether Cleopatra's tomb lies in sealed chambers yet to be excavated, or rests underwater in collapsed sections of the complex, or was destroyed by earthquakes centuries ago, the evidence reveals a secret network designed to hide Egypt's last queen from Roman conquerors who wanted to erase her from history. So ask yourself, if Cleopatra planned her burial with the same strategic brilliance she applied to ruling Egypt for 21 years, what else might be waiting in tunnels and chambers that haven't been opened in 2,000 years? Stay tuned.